All right, so we're attempting Brick Lake today with a Can-Am, a Polaris, and a Kawasaki. So we got 3 belt drives. This is gonna be good. All right, here we are, starting the jungle trail. A couple trees have come down. I think a couple people have tried this since I was here last. So I'm interested to see how tore up it's gonna be. So far, the jungle trail, or the 3-wheeler trail, is about as dry as I've seen it in several years. Picking your line and not punching through is everything. We'll probably end up getting stuck here and we'll just winch out. That's the field of misery though. Just wait, we'll winch you. There you go. There you go. I got him again. Yeah. Don't even try to back up, Richard. It ain't gonna work.
Oh, you break through, that's it.
Here you go. This ain't gonna move.
Oh, there it is.
Giant cypress knee. Pulling the way his tires wants to go anyway. So the trail's drier right now, but once you punch through, dude, it's bad. It's pushing the whole rut, like the whole thing's moving. Go! There we go. That thing is a plow. I think your tires are almost too aggressive because as soon as they spin, it's just whoop. So making really good timing. The Can-Am is doing phenomenal. Richard's having a bit of a struggle because he's pretty heavy and he doesn't quite have the turning radius, so he can't maneuver around the holes as easily. So this is the cut through to the field of misery number 2. Oh. So you may have noticed when we're getting stuck out here, we're not doing a whole lot of reversing and trying to work the machine out. That is because this is a very bad place to break an axle because you can't be towed through this stuff. And the number one way to break an axle is to try to reverse out of the hole or work it out. When you're on a ride like this, just use the winch, have someone pull you out. You know, don't be a dickhead and break an axle out here because your machine might get left out there for a few days until you can get an axle to come back and change it. Dude, look at that wheel freewheeling, Richard. It's still going.
Oh, shit.
That's that locker. It's so funny. Look at that suspension.
Well, yeah, dude, you did a good job. Dude, it's a Cadillac.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got it up till there.
That's good. So we are making it in absolutely record timing, and it's worth noting that I haven't got stuck yet. So let's see if I can make it all the way to Brick Lake without ever getting stuck. That would be a pretty serious accomplishment. Diff lock engaged. Well, almost made it to Brick Lake without getting stuck. Ta-da! Beautiful. I love the waves breaking over the... Well, that's not good. We solved the mystery on my Can-Am shut off. I think a stick or something grabbed the vent on the airbox drain and pulled it off the hose. So my airbox drain's of 1-inch hose just sitting there open. All right, let's do the water cannon thing. See what the oil looks like. I expect it to be completely heinous. Oh yeah, that is mostly water in there. So definitely can't run it like that. It needs to have a couple oil changes before it can make it out. All right, we are now on a rescue mission. The Can-Am is dead and must be revived. Okay, so I'm now riding the Polaris 1000 because I sunk my Can-Am by not making sure the drain bolt was in the airbox. So now I'm on this thing. Richard was nice enough to let me borrow his machine to go get some tools and to get some oil. Fun fact, the Can-Am toolkit is totally useless. It has so much power, you gotta be careful not to just like, whoop, and just punch right through. It's crazy. I made it through that just to get stuck right there. All right, so we're just starting the field of measure. I'm gonna try to make one continuous video from here all the way to the end. See how many times we get stuck, but we did good on the way back. So several people have asked for kind of like a walkthrough for how to get to Brick Lake. So this is starting at the first field of measure at the exit of the really tight jungle trail. People call it the three-wheeler trail. It's the one that kind of winds like a river in the cypress. Right now you can see the field of measure is pretty dry. This big Polaris was really heavy and has very aggressive tires, so you had to be careful not to punch through. But as you can see, that lighter brute force on some 28 Silverbacks went right through it. So having a light machine definitely is beneficial here, but you really want independent suspension because you have to climb over a lot of cypress knees. And you really want some good tires, and the Tarachi Aztecs that are on my Can-Am, I think it's pretty obvious, outperform everything else we've taken out there by a mile. Just incredible grip, and they're still light, and they don't punch through super easy. The tire is just freaking magic. That's all I can say. So obviously we're making very good time because, number one, I know where I'm going. I've already done this trail once today. This is my second time, and it's pretty dry. So this is a full walkthrough of where we go. Now obviously there's some big holes you got to see like that. You got to avoid them. Don't be scared to make a new trail right parallel to the other one, so you don't tear up the ground too bad and get stuck really bad. You do have to watch out for lily pads, watch out for depressions in the ground. Anything like that's going to get you stuck. You want to stay on the grass that looks like well, this green grass here is all pretty safe. But I go a different way just about every time. We did the same way twice today because we were kind of an emergency. I had to go get oil for my Can-Am, and Richard was waiting for me at the lake because he gave me his machine because he's the man. So we were going as quick as we could, try not to get stuck, try not to tear anything up. So sometimes I explore and take different routes and stuff, but when it's this dry, you have a lot of options. When it's super wet, this right here, what I'm showing you, is the best way to go. I'm one of the few people who've made it out to Brick Lake consistently year after year, and this is a pretty close path that I usually take. I might deviate here and there to avoid a soft spot, but this is generally the path I take. And you know, if you're going to try to follow this frame by frame in the video, it's going to take you forever. But really, there's only two places you have to line up with. There's a cut through that goes from the second field of misery, from the first field of misery to the second one. I'm going to show you that in a minute. You have to find that, and then you have to find another cut through that goes from the second field of misery to Brick Lake. In the past couple years, these are really the only two that have been passable. Several years ago, when it was super dry, there was 10 different ways to do it. But right now, you've got to find these two cut throughs. If you can't find that, you will be lost and stuck out here all day long, very mad and pissed off. This area we're in right here is in the middle north end of the first field of misery. You kind of got to pick around, do a lot of reversing to avoid falling off into some holes that were dug years ago that are still kind of present. But if you pick your way through here, it's a lot of zigzagging. You can make it through this north part of the field, and you see that cypress head that's kind of coming up in the back of the screen. It's very hard to cross. There's a few trails that I've done it with over the years. They're all really overgrown. I need to clear a couple of them out to make them passable. But this one right here, this cut through we're about to do, has been open for probably 3 years, and I just go and trim it up, you know, minor stuff, and then you can get through it pretty easy. So pay attention where we pop out here after we come out of this big sawgrass. I know I'm talking a lot, but this is just a video of me riding, so I figured it's more interesting than listening to this Polaris rev, although this motor does sound really good, and I think that's what gets Richard stuck all the time, because he likes to listen to the motor. Okay, this is not the entrance. Right there on the left, there is a trail you can do. It's totally blocked with vines and trees right now. So when you come up to here, you take a right, and you kind of follow the cypress head until you see the next cut through. So this is still kind of the first field of misery on the very north end of it. A lot of tall sawgrass. This stuff will cut the shit out of you. Be careful. But the path is pretty beaten down because we had 3 machines go to Brick Lake first thing in the morning. So this is, again, the second time I'm doing it in a day. So it was very easy to see where we had just gone. This place recovers really fast, though. The trail I took out here a month ago, you couldn't find it, right? The stuff just bounces back up. It's pretty wild. Yeah, so you kind of follow the cypress head with the cypress head on your left hind shoulder, and if you go soon enough, you'll see my trail. There's a couple of different forks here, and they don't really matter. All you want to do is just kind of stay to the left, and then you get into here. And this trail is high and dry. No one ever really gets stuck in it. There's a couple big cypress knees to climb over and like a root ball. You have to kind of go around, which was tricky in this thing because the turning radius is absolutely, it's an orbit. I mean, it's got a huge turning radius. My computer just timed out because this is the world's longest voiceover. Okay, so we're continuing down this cut through. It's really not bad. Like, you know, a Rancher 420 on 28s can go through here, so this one isn't a problem. The next one is what gets tricky. Yeah, squeeze around this giant root ball here. Okay, now we're popping out into the second field of misery. You want to stay to the left. There's some holes over on the right that were dug by Aiden. And this field of misery is never a problem. Even when it's super wet, most machines that are set up decently can cruise over the top of these weeds and not punch through. It's a different type of vegetation that supports the weight of the machine better. If you have a really big group, you might eventually cut a rut, but generally we don't have any problems here. Just don't go too fast because there are some stumps and cypress knees. So yeah, fly through this field of misery. The suspension of this Polaris, by the way, is very comfortable ever since I did the conversion and took off the high lifter shocks and put regular Sportsman shocks on it. It was able to absorb these big hits and these trees and stuff, no problem. So it's pretty comfortable. I'm going to do a separate video where I compare the Can-Am and the Polaris, being that I did the same ride on them back to back. And spoiler alert, the Can-Am is pretty superior. Sorry, Richard. But this Polaris, the biggest complaint I have with it is that it's super heavy and it's super hot. You get the belt exhaust blowing on you and the radiator heat blowing on you, where the Can-Am keeps that stuff away from the rider. But yeah, this was a super hot day. It was like 97 degrees at this point because, you know, we were planning to be out there by noon and had to make 2 trips because some dumbass sunk their Can-Am. Okay, so this is coming up to the next cut through I was talking about. This is the north end of the second field of misery. You want to stay all the way to the left here. If you go to any of these split offs to the right, you'll fall in some 5-foot deep holes and be stuck for an hour. So this is a trail I actually cut recently, and it takes you along the side of the main trail. You'll see the main trail here on the right. That's a really bad rut. Everyone was stuck in there last time I came. So I kind of parallel it, and then you got to cross over that main trail, which is really a creek, but it kind of turned into a trail because everyone rides down it. You you got to cross this right here. I was the only person who managed to cross this successfully, and that's because I think I ride these trails in this type of terrain more than most people, so I have pretty good throttle control for this sort of stuff. But this big old Polaris is challenging. So it goes through here, it's got plenty of grip, plenty of torque, plenty of power, but it about flips right here. So you got to get your weight way up over there and lean, and that's the kind of stuff you can't do with the passenger. So Richard was really struggling with the passenger because he couldn't do that weight distribution. That's the last really bad hole, and then you kind of just follow this trail up to Brick Lake. So we're super close to Brick Lake now. There's one more little ridge you got to climb up onto to get to the lake, and it's getting a little chopped up, but I was able to make it in the Can-Am after my first attempt because I kind of ran over some. All right, so I pilfered a few of my friends' camps, got a couple quarts of oil, did an oil change, and we are back in business, boys and girls. Diff lock engaged. See if we can get through here. Easy. If you'd have given it a little bit less gas, you'd have had it.
Watch out, I'm gonna try.
Go that way a little bit. You were this close.
You're right.
All right, so we did an oil change. We're making our way back. The Can-Am is misfiring a little bit, so I only have about half my power. Not ideal, but grateful that I'm still moving. It's smoking a lot. I may have cooked it. It's pretty hard, like right here.
Yep.
Wow! Dude, you didn't even punch through. That's no problem turning them. It's cool.